a team of archaeologists at the University of Oregon have found one of North America's oldest human-occupied sites in southern Oregon.
For many years, scientists believed humans arrived in the Americas about 13,000 years ago during the Ice Age. They were thought to have crossed the Bering Land Bridge, moved south, and slowly spread across the continent. This idea seemed clear and complete. Textbooks repeated it, documentaries supported it, and a few questioned it. But history is rarely that simple. Recently, during a careful excavation at an Oregon site called Paisley Caves, scientists found evidence suggesting ancient Americans may be much older than we ever imagined or believed. So, what did scientists find, and how is it changing our understanding of the first people in the Americas? Let's dive in. The Hidden Shelter. Located in the high plains of north-central Wyoming, Rimrock Draw rock shelter looks simple at first glance. It's a natural shelter formed by cliffs and stone, tucked into a quiet, open landscape. Nothing about it seems dramatic. No wide rivers flow nearby. No thick forests surround it. It feels empty, forgettable. For a long time, archaeologists did exactly that. For decades, experts believed this entire region was unlivable during the Deep Ice Age. On maps of ancient America, this area was often left blank, as if human history had simply skipped over it. Because of that belief, Rimrock Draw remained untouched for years. But recently, a team from the University of Oregon decided to take a closer look. Their goal was simple: to study ancient animals and past climate by reading the layers of soil. By examining the dirt, they hoped to understand how the land had changed over time, layer by layer, across thousands of years. They expected to find disorder beneath the surface, loose soil, mixed layers, and deposits disturbed by wind, water, and erosion. But that's not what they found. Instead, the ground told a very different story. The soil layers were clean and perfectly ordered, stacked one on top of another like pages in a book. Nothing had been disturbed. Nothing was mixed. This wasn't random dirt. It felt like a carefully preserved timeline. As the excavation continued and the team dug deeper, something unexpected appeared. Stone tools. These were not broken rocks or natural debris. They had clear shapes, sharp edges, and an obvious purpose. Even more surprising, the tools didn't appear just once. They showed up again and again, each time in deeper and older layers of soil. That meant people hadn't passed through only once. They had returned to this place repeatedly over thousands of years. This created a serious problem. According to the accepted story, humans were not supposed to be here yet. But what scientists were finding inside was a clear, layered record of human activity. But why would ancient people choose this place? And why would they repeatedly come back to a shelter so dry, so exposed, and so seemingly empty? The camel tooth. The scientists kept digging, hoping to find something that would tie the story together like some bones or broken leftovers. But what they found surprised them. A giant extinct camel called Camelops hesternus. This massive animal once roamed North America, stood nearly 7 feet tall, and had disappeared long before humans were supposed to be anywhere near this place. At first, the bones themselves were surprising, but what truly stopped the excavation was how they were arranged. The pieces lay close together, almost deliberately placed, not spread out by animals or dragged apart by time. This kind of pattern doesn't happen naturally. It's what archaeologists usually see when people butcher a large animal for food. When researchers examined the bones more closely, they found clear-cut marks along their surfaces. Thin, straight lines appeared again and again near the joints, exactly where meat is normally separated. Teeth and claws leave rough, uneven damage. Trampling crushes and splinters bone. These marks were different. They were clean. The location of the bones made the discovery even more undeniable. They were sealed beneath a thick layer of volcanic ash from a Mount St. Helens eruption that occurred more than 15,600 years ago. The ash layer was perfectly intact, undisturbed. That meant whatever lay beneath it had to be older than the eruption itself. The scientists directly dated a camel tooth using radiocarbon testing. The result came back at roughly 18,250 years old. That meant humans had been here long before anyone had thought possible. At first, the scientists assumed there must have been a mistake. Maybe the tooth had been contaminated. Maybe the machines were off. Maybe it was all some fluke. But every time they repeated the test, the result was the same. Each time, the numbers pointed to the same shocking truth. Humans had been here, long before they were supposed to be. The strange cut marks. Those tools were only the beginning of the story hidden in the soil. As the team kept digging around the camel remains, more shaped stones appeared in the same ancient layer. They were not broken rocks from nature, but clear tools made by people who knew exactly what they were doing. Most of the tools were scrapers. They were stones with sharp edges that could cut meat and clean animal skins. The edges were chipped carefully, not smashed at random. Many of the tools looked alike, which showed that people followed a pattern and shared knowledge about how to make them. The type of stone was just as important. The scrapers were made from orange agate, a rock that does not naturally exist near Rimrock Draw. This means people either traveled far to collect it or traded with other groups who had it. Both options show planning, movement, and communication, not simple survival in one place. When scientists looked very closely under a microscope, they saw tiny, smooth spots and small cracks along the edges. These marks form only when a tool is used many times on soft things like meat and hide. One scraper was found even deeper than the camel bones in older soil. Because soil builds up slowly over time, deeper layers are always older. Since the layers at this site were clean and untouched, the tool could not have slipped down later. This meant people were here before the camel was butchered. The ground around the tools was firm and stable, not loose or mixed. There were no signs of digging, flooding, or animals burrowing through the layers. The earth itself had protected the moment like a time capsule. All of this showed that people did not visit once and leave. They stayed, worked, and came back again. But the strongest proof was still hidden in something far smaller than stone or bone: blood in the tools. That tiny hidden evidence turned out to be the strongest proof of all. Instead of only looking at shape or scratches, scientists tested what was trapped inside the stone itself. This method is called residue analysis, and it can find invisible traces left behind when a tool cuts fresh animal flesh. First, the researchers cleaned each scraper very carefully so modern dirt or germs would not mix with the old material. Then they placed the tools under very powerful microscopes and ran simple chemical tests in a lab. What they found was clear and specific. Tiny proteins inside the cracks matched the blood of bison antiquus, a huge Ice Age animal that lived long before today's bison. This result could not have happened by accident. Rain, soil, or water cannot push animal blood deep into stone cracks. The only way those proteins could get inside was if a person used the tool directly on a fresh animal body. Bison antiquus was much larger and more dangerous than modern bison. Cutting and processing it would have needed planning, strength, and teamwork. This shows people here were not wandering or desperate. They were hunting in an organized way. With this proof, human activity at Rimrock Draw was no longer just likely. It was scientifically confirmed at a microscopic level. It raised a much bigger question about the story scientists had been telling for decades: rewriting the history. Because those deeper layers are still untouched, Rimrock Draw now sits at the center of a much larger rethink about early people in America. The site does not just move dates back, it changes how scientists imagine the journey itself. If people were already in Oregon this early, then migration could not have depended on a late inland ice corridor. This makes a Pacific coastal route far more likely, where travelers could follow rich shorelines, fish, and travel by simple watercraft. That idea explains how groups could move long distances while the interior remained frozen. The discovery also forces archaeologists to search differently. Places once ignored as too old, too harsh, or too remote must now be rechecked with deeper digging and newer tests. Upper layers can no longer be treated as the only important ones because earlier evidence may lie far below. Rimrock Draw reminds us that America's earliest story is far older and far richer than we ever imagined. Every layer of soil, every hidden fossil, tells a piece of a story that has been waiting for thousands of years to be discovered. And the truth is, history isn't just in books. It's still underground, waiting for someone to uncover it. Who knows what other secrets are buried, waiting to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the past? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you liked this video, ensure you give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya.